I don't know, because I can't suggest, but if you could ever go inside that old Pisgah High School out there for History Day, because they moved the whole
I've seen
school
that.
out there.
I have actually seen that one day with that I went to Gorham's Bluff. That's pretty cool. Okay. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay.
What kind of posture do you use?
I just usually not good posture.
Okay, all right. I just want my back to be straight.
Unfortunately.
I don't want my shoulders to be slumped.
In fact, I asked him last night at yoga, can you give me some ideas for better posture? Because I find myself slumping. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Hey everybody, welcome to Chamber Chat. Today I'm happy to have Chuck Bryant with me. He's the fire marshal at Scottsboro Fire Department. Welcome, Chuck.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you here. Chuck wears different hats, and he does something that's a very important job that keeps a lot of us safe. How long have you been with the fire department, Chuck?
23 years. So I started in June of 1993, but with some earlier training, it puts me at 23 years.
Wow. So, and your official title is fire marshal. What does the fire marshal do?
Fire marshal wears many hats in town. I've been fire marshal in Scottsboro since 2006. Primarily, the focus is on fire prevention, enforcement, and inspection of codes in the city of Scottsboro. By doing things like this, I work closely with many other organizations in the city and the state, local law enforcement, the state law enforcement, federal law enforcement agencies, the revenue department in the city. Probably work closer with the city building inspectors when I do other agencies because of the code enforcement. And building plans review. Anytime somebody wants to do a renovation or new construction of a new or existing building, then generally I will be one of the first ones to consult with them on the plans review process.
Right. Okay. So it says here that you're a National Fire Academy certified fire and arson investigator. So that you do a lot of after the fact investigation too, then.
That is correct. But generally, the fire department on an emergency response, if they have a fire they can't determine the origin, then I will perform an origin and cause investigation. So the National Fire Academy certification is an 80-hour class. It's 2 weeks in Maryland, and it's a pretty rigorous course. And there'll be people from all over the world in that class. So I've met people all the way from the Caribbean islands, and had made some good friends in Los Angeles County out of that class. So
That's cool.
yeah.
I bet y'all can share trade secrets and whatnot, huh?
We do. We stay in contact. And one thing I've noticed since I've been fire marshal since 2006, I've almost become a peer for other people in the area. When other cities like Albertville or recently in Gunnersville and Fort Payne changed their fire marshals, then I've been around so long, they tend to lean on me sometimes for questions or opinions on what they need to do in their city.
Right. Well, I know you're always ready to help because if everything I've ever asked you to do, or noticed you helping with other causes and whatnot, city, county, whatever, I know that you're always available, and that's very much appreciated. Also, you work with the leadership of Jackson County, right?
Yes. You and I went through leadership together and had a great time. Fun time. And it's a great program. It exposes people to a lot of areas of the county that they may not know about. So in 2015, late last year, I agreed to become the vice chair of that. And going forward, I'll be more involved with that. I want to build the program up, and I want to see more people get involved with the program and go through the program.
Right. We interviewed Mike one day, Mike Sims from Leadership, and talked about what it was and everything. But give us a little quick plug for what Leadership is and why people would want to join that.
Leadership is great because one thing, you get exposed to several different areas, including things like commerce, economic development, the education in Jackson County, agriculture, the history of the county, community services, healthcare. Over the course of several months, you'll get to see different areas of the county and learn about what they do and how important it is to the function of the county going forward. It's relatively cheap for what you get. You'll make new friends. The contacts you make with Leadership Jackson County, you'll have for the rest of your life.
It's priceless. It really is. Like Chuck said, we went through leadership last year together, and I've lived here all my life and learned so many things that I had no idea were in Jackson County. And Chuck today was just telling me about some more that he's discovered. But you make great contacts. I consider my leadership brothers and sisters my friends for life now. You really bond, don't you?
Yes, you do.
You do. And anybody that's interested in going through a leadership class, it's well worth it. Please call the chamber at 256-259-5500, and we'll be glad to pass you along the information about that. So back to your fire, the fire hat that you wear,
Okay.
so to speak.
Yes.
You said you do a lot of inspections, and you also provide public education.
Public education on fire safety is very important. Most people will get their first dose of that when they're in elementary schools, when the fire truck comes, and you might get plastic fire hats or the stickers and the stop, drop, and roll, and the don't touch the matches. But we need to focus more on the older kids. Reach these kids when they get to the junior high level, and then we need to start reaching adults.
Right.
Alabama is unfortunately one of the leaders in fire deaths in the nation. So we've got to get our education, and then we've got to expand it outside of the city limits of Scottsboro. In Jackson County, unfortunately, there's only one full-time fire marshal, and that's me. We're the only paid fire department in the county. So I don't mind being lingo somewhat. This morning, I took a phone call from Gurley on a fire investigation that someone had questions about. I talked to a restaurant owner in Section yesterday about some problems that she had. Now, I don't have enforcement powers out in the county, but I know enough about the code. I think I can help people, and I don't mind people calling me on my cell phone, sending me emails. And one of the other things I found that's really neat in today's world, a lot of times I get questions on Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
I actually had one at 5 a.m. this morning, so there you go.
That's a good way to be able to get a hold of somebody.
Yes.
But yeah, I know that your job is a passion for you, and it's not just go to work and draw my check. You go way outside the boundaries of helpfulness and outside the 40-hour week, so to speak.
Yes, certainly.
You're always on. You're always on. You really
Yes.
are. So, what are some? You said that we need more education.
Yes.
I include myself in that for sure. What are some home fire safety tips
Well,
that you could give us?
That's a great question, because most fires still occur in single-family dwellings, your home. And most fires that occur in the home occur in the kitchen area. You can attribute that to unattended cooking or just
Right.
cooking emergencies. One of the primary things you need to remember, if you're cooking on a stovetop and you're cooking with something like oil or a grease, that if you have a grease fire, don't plunge anything into the fire. That will only spread the fire and make it worse. You'll burn your cabinets, you'll burn your drapes, you'll burn everything. You'll make it much worse and spread the fire damage. So what you always need to remember, have an appropriate size cover and just cover the pan to stop the oxygen to the fire, because the fire needs three things. It needs fuel, heat, and oxygen.
Right.
It's a three-legged stool. Take one of those legs of the stool away, puts the fire out. So don't use a fire extinguisher, don't use salt, don't use baking soda. Just cover the pan, use an oven mitt to cover the pan, turn the power off to the stove light. If you're worried about it, call the fire department, because
Right.
in the city of Scottsboro, most places we can reach most homes in 3 to 4 minutes, maybe longer in the outlying areas, but we're always close and we're on duty 24 hours a day.
Right. Well, that's good to know, because it's a common misconception that you use baking soda, because I've heard
Yes,
that all
yes.
my life. So that's good to know. So just smother it and just starve it of oxygen. Do you have any other to do with maybe not cooking or?
Well, this time of year, we're in the winter months now. It finally got cold for us in Alabama.
Finally.
Fire prevention month's in October, and it is nationwide. The NFPA established that after the Great Chicago Fire, and they wanted to expand public education in the United States, when unfortunately in the South it's still warm in October.
Right.
So most of our fire deaths in Alabama start happening in the cold months. One of the worst things that can ever happen in the winter months is people use alternative heating devices, and that'll be portable space heaters. You always have to remember, portable space heaters need 3 feet of clearance at all times on all sides. You never want to go to sleep with a space heater on.
Right.
And this also applies the wall heaters, the 5-brick, the propane heaters, or the electric heaters in houses. Same rule, 3 feet. Don't use them to dry the clothes, dry towels. Don't use them for anything like that. Make sure all of them are turned off before you go to bed at night.
Right. That's good advice. It really is. Another thing I didn't know about the 3 feet clearance, a lot of us have these little portable heaters in our offices or in our homes, and so that's good to know.
Yes.
That's good to know. And we also tend to use like extension cords and different things like that. Are there any?
Well, extension cords are only a temporary power source. Now, the fire code says 30-day use is temporary use. The thing with extension cords you need to be careful of that they're properly sized for the appliance, what they need. Generally, your dollar store extension cords won't work for a microwave.
Right.
You look at the size of the cord the microwave requires versus the skinny extension cord, where you're restricting that. So that's a fire danger. When some people have lamps in their homes and the cord's too long, they'll wrap them around the pole, the legs of the furniture.
Yeah.
Well, okay, what that premise is, a space heater, for example. Have you ever looked at the coils inside a space heater? So that cord you're wrapping around that furniture is doing the same thing. You're building resistance heating, and that's a fire danger.
So that could heat up enough to catch that leg
Yes.
Of the furniture on fire.
Yes.
Ah,
Seen that before.
no idea about that. No idea. Well, what about, I hear that you should have like an escape plan.
Escape plan, definitely. Escape plan, and the easiest way to think about it, you need to have 2 ways out of every room. If your primary exit is blocked by fire or smoke or heat, you need to have a second way out of the room. Now, I live in an older home. A lot of people live in older homes. One of the first things you notice, people paint the window jambs
Right.
and the frames.
Right.
And you need to make sure that those windows will open. Check them periodically. If you paint them, open, let it dry. Make sure they'll open. You don't want any windows nailed where they won't open.
Right.
And make sure that everyone in the house knows that there's a secondary way out. If there is a fire in your home and you're trapped inside your room,
Right.
you want to close the door to prevent smoke from coming in the room, because smoke's actually what kills you
Yeah.
most of the time. So, and you want to never go out of that door if it's warm. Fill the door with the back of your hand, and use your secondary means of egress to escape the fire.
Okay. That's some good advice, and I know also that there are a lot of things that you can do when you're building a house to maybe put in some sprinkler systems or things that could be a small investment.
Residential sprinklers are the single greatest investment you can make in a home. Those combined with smoke alarm for providing an effective means of protection.
Right. Well, that's a good thing to know. Well, that's a lot of information, needed information, especially this time of year. And I appreciate you coming, Chuck, and hope to have you back again soon.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all come back.
How'd we do?